Greetings, brothers and sisters. So we're going to get back to a more normal video here in just a moment. But to start off with, I had a few things I just want to add to my last series of videos briefly here. And so to revisit this, Pat McAfee, after Aaron Rodgers made a surprise appearance, and, he was called out on the internet, and then, he said, you guys misunderstood, whatever. But I want to address this part right here.
We're getting absolutely killed. They're like, you turned your back on Aaron Rodgers. It's like, do you know how many things I've been through with Aaron Rodgers just in our short relationship? It's like, yeah, I was not pumped to be in the middle of any of that. We all have friends that put us in situations where we're like, did we have to? Did we?
Did you have to?
Did we? I've been that guy.
This one's a bit unique.
Aaron Rodgers helped make his show. Like, he was the biggest part of his show growing, to my understanding. And he said it himself. Like, he got, New York posted a hit piece on him paying Aaron Rodgers, paying his guests, which other podcasters don't do. And he came on and said, of course I'm going to pay my guests. Aaron Rodgers and these other people are a big part of why my show grew. Having Aaron Rodgers on every Tuesday, Aaron didn't want to take the money, but he acknowledged how important it was to have Aaron Rodgers on. And not so much for Aaron Rodgers' football knowledge, but for all the drama Aaron Rodgers went through in terms of the whole stuff to do with his immunization stuff and, the vax stuff, and then all the other things that had to do with his starting off with the Jets and leaving the Packers. People tuned in specifically to hear Aaron Rodgers about those things and the drama that was going on. And so he could say, that Aaron Rodgers put him in a bad position, but that wasn't the case at all. Like, his success, he wouldn't be on ESPN if Aaron Rodgers wasn't on his show, right? And he knows that because he basically said that, right? And so, it's just stupid. And then I want to go back to this thing with Jimmy Kimmel here.
Please. All right, go finish your cereal.
Daddy ate it all.
So this is all the way back in 2013, right? And this wasn't the first year he did it. So Jimmy Kimmel has been having parents lie to their kids and make them cry on a holiday. A holiday the kids are excited about. They got this candy. And it's abusive. It's mean-spirited. And, it's not funny. And they're laughing. Oftentimes the parents are laughing while the kid's crying. And,
Anyway, I want to have you eat more healthy.
Oh, it's free. You can eat your healthy stuff because you're fat.
And so, kaboom. But here, it's been going on here since 2022, 2015. Doing this every year. Jimmy Kimmel gets off on the pain and suffering of little kids, right? He's encouraging parents to make their kids cry, and then they laugh at it. Here's a video someone put up for 2023. But, Kimmel gets off on the kids suffering, right?
Mommy and Daddy did something really bad.
Wow.
We got really hungry, and we ate all of your Halloween candy. We ate all of it. It's all gone.
He's been doing this for 12 years, and you can see the kids suffering. And, sometimes the parents are laughing, the audience is laughing. Jimmy Kimmel finds it funny when parents lie to their kids on a holiday, young kids, little kids, right? Tell them they've eaten all their candy, and the kid cries and freaks out, and then they tell him, hey, it's okay, we have your candy. The trust, it's just traumatic for the kids, right? I mean, it's horrible. And he gets off and the kid's suffering. Like, he wants parents to make their kids cry and then video it, and he puts it out there for people to laugh at, right? The emotional suffering of these little kids who, just want to go out and trick or treat and have their Halloween candy. It's sadistic, right? He wants to bring some sort of, make it turn into a horror show for these kids, right? And have them be traumatized in some way. And then laugh at it, enjoy it, like it gets off. Years of unnecessary suffering, right? This is, this is Jimmy Kimmel. This is what he's all about, right? This is his thing. And it's not just this. He does this with, he likes humiliation and humiliating people and having people humiliate their family members.
Monday night, I issued a challenge to the parents of America. I asked parents to pretend they ate all their kids' Halloween candy.
So this is from 12 years ago, right? At what point, and this is before he even had kids, and then he did it to his own kids. At what point do you realize, this is supposed to be a changed guy, a guy who was in blackface and did misogynistic things in, the Man Show, and did things that should have got him canceled, right? He went on vacation, he avoided that. He's a gatekeeper. But he's supposed to be a changed man, an enlightened person. Now he sees the error of his ways. I mean, he never apologized. He never talked about it that way. But it's the same kind of malicious, mean-spirited, kind of demonic stuff he's doing here, right? Where he's, he gets off on the suffering of other people, and he gets family members to do mean things to each other and then video it, right? And laugh at it and mock them. And it's not funny. So much of this thing is about this humiliation. It's like he's like the devil, right? It's like going out there, hey, go take your kid's Halloween candy and tell them you ate all of it, and then video it and then laugh at them and mock them while you're doing it, and then post it on the internet so that their childhood trauma is there for everyone to see for years. And I'll post it on my TV show and like do it for 12 years. Like, just at what point do you realize you're a sick F? Kids will prank. This is something kids might do. They'll prank their brother and sister. They'll tell them something horrible, right? And, it's kind of funny, whatever kind of way it is, because there's animosity between his siblings. But he's doing this to random strangers and little kids and encouraging dopey parents to, do this and participate in this thing so they can all get on TV or, have kids do mean stuff to their dads on Father's Day so they get on TV or whatever. It's... And then other people can laugh at the suffering and pain of other people, right? Especially young people. It's just so twisted. Let's get back into the other stuff here. Matthew Perry allegedly lied about sobriety, assaulted best friend when confronted about it. Matthew Perry had skeletons in his closet prior to his untimely death, according to a new report. The Friends star lied about his sobriety for years and had a long history of being abusive. 3 anonymous sources claimed to U.S. Weekly in a bombshell cover story published Wednesday. He was verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive. Well, of course, he was a very manipulative person. That's what addicts become. Certainly, that's part of it, and it gets worse as they continue their addiction. All he knew how to do was cause pain and play the victim. I mean, you think he was sober here? Like, he was basically, high from his friend's days all the way to the day he died. He spent $9 million trying to get sober. He appeared on the Friends, whatever that thing was, the Friends thing they did on HBO, and the guy could barely speak. He was so messed up when he was on there. He was slurring his speech. I showed you that, right? So here, he had a physical confrontation with Morgan Moses. He threw Moses into a wall and threw something at her and shoved her onto a bed. I guess she asked him if he was, asked about his sobriety. Apparently this is Morgan Moses here. This is maybe when she was younger. But, So this is him on the Friends reunion tour, right?
The cookie jar that had the clock on it, and I gave it to Lisa Kudrow because she one point looked at it and thought it was a real clock, and I gave it to her.
Like he was barely, he could barely speak, right? So this is this dude is driving and he's trying to get home to his sick kids or his young kids. Something that I went through. Someone wrote, Palestine will be free. And, I'm a pro-Palestinian person. But I went through this years and years ago when I lived in the very liberal 5-college area in Massachusetts. There's 5 colleges there. Smith Colleges, UMass, and Amherst. My family and I lived in a college apartment, which sucked, in a cockroach-infested college apartment. And I was working at a treatment center with adolescent sex offenders. And it was a very stressful, sucky job. and the kids were young, and we lived in this it was above the laundry room. The apartment was often way too hot, and we had like all these cockroaches, and it was really a down time. It was a difficult time in my life, and there was a bunch of young kids at home, a bunch of toddlers, and it was like they were sick, and it was a bad time, and I was kind of rushing home from work, and I'm driving through Amherst, and all these dopey UMass students are protesting the war. This is back in 2003 or whatever. Everybody in there was liberal and against the war. This is the Iraq war with George W. Bush. And I'm against the war. Everyone is. But they were blocking traffic. Like, they were just pissing people off, right? Like, they're just pissing people off who agreed with them. It's just really stupid. Just so they can go out and do something like they're, be in a group and be loud and feel like they're doing something. It's counterproductive. I've talked about how these kind of things don't work, protests.
Traffic, idiots! You can't do that. That's against the law. Wilding, I'm about to start throwing fists at y'all, bro. I'm not gonna run y'all over. Get away from my car, bro. Okay, Get away from my car. Get away from my car. Bro, get away from my car. I have a daughter in Brooklyn. Don't touch him. Get in your car. Get the fuck out of the way.
He's got a daughter in Brooklyn. They're just standing in the way, right? Does this guy against the war, is he responsible for this? And they're just blocking the road, right? Just like it's stupid. It's counterproductive. You just piss people off, and it doesn't have any effect.
Get out of the way. I have to get home. Let him go. Run him over.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Protests suck and they're counterproductive. They always backfire. This is new COVID variant heart failure. There's multiple articles about this. I covered this on my other channel yesterday. Today is Friday, January 12th, so this video will be up. I don't know when this will be up. I guess this will be up Sunday. So whatever. But this is, they're saying that this new strain, COVID J1, could trigger a global heart failure pandemic. Study helps explain how COVID-19 heightens the risk of heart attack and stroke. And it says all these things about how COVID, I've had an irregular heartbeat. I didn't get the bloop, but I had COVID multiple times. And mostly it's kind of gone away. And, hopefully, but they're saying that COVID lingers in the heart. And they're blaming COVID scientists issue worry new variant could cause global heart failure pandemic. So, we know what's kind of really probably going on there, though. Anchor Sarah Snyder reveals stage 3 breast cancer diagnosis. I love my life more now than ever. She took breast cancer for that. Solid opening week for 2024. Keep up the great work. This comedian, Cat Williams, went off on various people. This dude jumped across and slapped a judge. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what that is, the alien thing. And this dude who apparently has mental problems went into a Bass Pro Shop, these monster pro shops that have big fish tanks, and he jumped in one. Jennifer Lawrence hired security after having a baby due to intrusive thoughts. And it was very unclear what the intrusive thoughts were, that she was worried about hurting the kid. Intrusive thoughts and anxiety, I wanted us to have security around them all the time. I guess maybe she was worried about outside people. I'm not sure. Whether she was worried about hurting the baby or she was worried about other people doing that. Chemists warned bottled water 100 times worse for plastic than originally thought. So, now that people have been drinking bottled water for a number of years, they're coming up with this idea that it's much worse than they originally thought. And I never thought it was good. You can taste the plastic. The longer the water sits in the bottle, If you bring the water and the water gets hot and the bottle gets hot and gets, the sun bakes in, you can really taste the plastic in the water, even the so-called safe ones. Well, this is a brilliant video entitled, Connor Got Stuck in a Pot at the Wedding.
What did we take out for the water? I am doing everything I can! God damn it!
Connor got into the pot, and he's getting pretty angry and abusive for a guy who, got stuck in a pot.
My sweater off before he took my belt off, and I didn't do shoot.
You got it, Connor. You got it. You do. Look, you can do it. You really can. You really can. Look, you gotta just pull your body out.
And why is nobody brought me all the fire? Connor, this is an HR issue, honey.
So, I didn't catch this when I first recorded it, but the girl just said there are HR issues, which means Connor's at work. So it must be like a Christmas or New Year's party at work or something. So Connor's at his job, and he decided to get into a pot, and the rest is self-explanatory.
Be a decorative element in the house. Oh, God damn it. I'm stuck. You're not going to be able to get out. I'm stuck. You're going to be there the rest of the night. Y'all going to have to find a hammer. We'll get you out. We are not breaking the pot. I'll give a damn who you are. We're going to get you out. You're going to sleep. I've never became a game. I mean, in the corner, get in there.
Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where is it?
I don't know.
Where's the hammer? Is it on the... Go up on the other floor. Somebody go up there and stop the hammering.
The thing about Connor, he might be an absolute gem of a guy. He's acting like he's the victim here. Like he's acting like they forced him to get into the pot. Like it was some kind of work thing he had to do. He was at work, he got drunk, he climbed into a pot, and he can't get out. Weekend at Jeffries. There they are. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin treated for prostate cancer. This guy had another turbo cancer happening. Jeremy Renner accused of insulting Reno family after he began dating their ex-con daughter, sending her D-pics and later calling her mom and aunt effing idiots when he invited them to his Tahoe mansion. So he kind of hid from the cycle. Now he's a real moron, which we know. This guy, he tried to get on the tracks of his big snowplow while it was moving, and he got run over. And he said, "Not today, MNFer," like so he was in some movie. This is his girlfriend, who is she's an ex-con, and he invited her parents up to the house and then called them idiots when they showed up. This is goodbye. YouTuber Brian Barzik enters hospice for pancreatic cancer. This is going around quite a bit, these turbo cancers. Thousands of James Madison High School students are kicked out of their New York City building to make room for 2,000 migrants evacuated from Floyd Bennett Field due to storm threat. This is a horrible contagious illness is spreading throughout Portland, Oregon's homeless population. UK woman suffers a series of heart attacks after Brazilian butt lift surgery in Turkey, and then she dies. This is the second death due to butt lift. Started raising cattle at the Kaloa Kayayu Ranch, and my goal is to create some of the highest quality beef in the world. The cattle are Wagyu and Angus, and they'll grow up eating macadamia meal and drinking beer that we grow and produce here on the ranch. We want the whole process to be local and vertically integrated. Each cow eats between 5,000 and 10,000 pounds of food each year. And so, he's got that whole Hawaii thing going on. New California law will require bars to offer roofie drug test kits in case you get roofied. Yo. Yo.
Oh my God.
That dude's living the dream. There's a homeless guy sleeping there, and there's all kinds of movement under his blanket. And so he wakes the guy up, and the guy lifts his blanket, and about 40 rats run out. He's living the dream. Woman accused of poisoning husband after scammer posing as soap opera star told her to get rid of him. You know, and why would it be able to do that? Here is a bunch of baboons that go and gang up on a leopard.
Oh. Whoa!
The leopard eventually runs off. Investigation launched after second Alabama inmate's organs found missing. Family claims Alabama inmate heart was missing from his body, was released from prison. And so, you know, that's highly suspicious. So I started this video yesterday, and I have like 2 browsers open, and I usually, you know, when new stuff comes in, I'm going to put stuff up from my other browser because I got to get it. There's a celebrity, you know, death over there or something that I want to cover. I forget what it is, but you guys will probably, you'll see that in just a moment. But anyways, one of my viewers sent me this today, and it's hilarious. I just showed it to my wife.
What's your name?
Me?
Yeah, you. Yes.
Nathaniel Saxon, sir.
Your name's not Butt 3000. Logging into my court with that as your screen name.
I don't believe that I typed anything like that in.
Well, that's what it says.
According to the comments, his sister did it.
That should not be.
Yeah, you should. I'll put you in the waiting room.
Oh my God, his sister wants him to spend his life in prison. That is like so funny. The way the judge read it, I mean, it was just classic. Then to go along with that, someone else sent me this.
Let me make a statement, okay?
What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden?
Let me make a statement.
I don't think he answered the question. I don't know if there's different kinds of crack. I think it's all kind of similar. Tina Knowles serenaded by Destiny's Child on 70th birthday bash. I just got spoiled to death. And this is Beyonce Knowles' mom. And I covered her before. I think she's very kind of dudeish. She has an Instagram video here.
Filled with that, filled with love, and I feel so loved. I had a little anxiety about turning 70, you know, but I'm so blessed to be here, and I'm so blessed to have the life that I have.
Yeah, she's very dudeish. I remember years ago when I used to make videos about this kind of thing, about, you know, dudes. She seemed to be one of them. COVID 6 feet social distancing sort of just appeared, likely lacked scientific basis, Fauci admits. I don't know if that's the video here. Dr. Anthony Fauci confessed to lawmakers Tuesday that the guidelines to keep 6 feet separation ostensibly to limit the spread of COVID sort of appeared without scientific input. You know, they just keep on coming out with the kind of stuff, right? I don't know if there's a video about it, but, you know. I mean, it fades. The story's faded. Kelly Kuko admits she almost strangled woman who judged her parenting on her daughter Matilda's first plane ride. Calling her kid Matilda just doesn't, because she appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Jimmy Kimmel's, she's strangling other passengers. Andy Cohen fell victim to a credit card scam. Here's what he learned. What did you learn, Andy?
Friend Andy Cohen, and this morning he has a really important message about the dangers of imposter scams. Okay.
These guys are a couple imposters here.
Okay, Andy became a victim when his bank accounts were hacked. And of course, Andy's not by himself. Imposter fraud has been the most reported scam for years.
Yeah, so it happens when a scammer pretends to be someone else, like a government or, in Andy's case, a bank employee, to steal a victim's money or personal information. More than 600,000 cases were reported in the U.S. last year. It cost Americans $2 billion. Andy, good morning.
Morning.
It's sort of like Andy, how we haven't seen him. When we were like, Andy's coming on to talk about getting
I know we
scammed.
want to talk about the Salt Lake City reunion
Yeah, we
last
do.
night, but this is serious, and I really don't want this to happen to
It's serious. They want to talk about something else, but here.
anyone, which is why I want to talk to you about
So you
it.
started off, you just lost your bank card.
I lost my bank card.
Yeah.
Fine. Reported it lost. The next day, I get an email that looked like it was from my bank's fraud alert.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Because I had lost my card, I was like, oh, this must be real. I didn't click on the email address. You need to click on the email address, even though it may say the name of your bank. If you click on it, you can see that it's not at betyourbank.com.
Yeah.
It's from something else. I didn't check. I clicked the link, which took me to my bank page. They asked me to sign in. I signed in. What I did there was give these scammers access to my account. They then asked me for my Apple ID. No one will ever ask you for your Apple ID. I said, this is a scam. I got off. I didn't think anything of it.
Okay.
I had already given them access. The next day, I get a text.
Yeah, wait, you should have. If they asked you for something, you figured it was a scam, then you should have backtracked and called your bank immediately.
I got off. I didn't think anything of it.
Okay.
I had already given them access. The next day, I get a text. Someone's trying, it looks like it's from my bank. Someone's trying to use your credit card at X place. Is this you? No. I type.
Click, yeah.
The phone rings. Again, the caller ID says it's from my bank. I pick it up. They say, this is X fraud alert. I said, yes, that's not me making that charge. Now, because I had given these hackers access to my account, they said to me, we want to go through some of your past charges and see if these are yours. Did you charge this? Yes, that was me. Did you charge this? Yes, that was me. So now I'm in. And they're like, we're going to send you some codes. Tell us what we send you. What they were doing then, they sent me 3 codes. They were initiating wire transfers out of my bank account.
Oh, my gosh.
I think I'm on with my bank. And they were so good. Whoever you are, I hate you, but you are very good at your job.
So you sent the codes.
I'm telling them the codes over the phone.
And the codes are authorizing money
my
being
bank
wired.
texting me, authorizing these transfers.
This could have been avoided. Once you sign into something like that, you got to assume that information has been stolen. Once you sign into something, then you realize it's a scam. Then you've got to assume information's stolen. Like, it's just, that's how it's always got to be. I think most people know that. People will send you mail, email, whatever. Or, there's things that happen on, like, for example, on Facebook, once in a while, a friend of mine, someone I haven't heard from, or, there's Abiasi's people who do the meditation, people I haven't talked to in years, will all of a sudden send me a message saying something like, oh, why are you in this video? And it's a very compelling, something that you would click on, right? And it's some kind of phishing scam. If you click on it, and it usually comes from dead accounts, like on Facebook, for example, where Facebook will, dead accounts that haven't been used in years and have been somehow hacked, and the people aren't paying attention to them, and they're trying to grab everyone else's, information. And there are things like that people will send you, and that's a little bit trickier because it's coming from an alleged friend on social media. I was getting a lot of people giving me their life story, right, on Facebook. And Facebook was generating fake questions, and I got these questions myself. People would say, oh, tell me about yourself. It happened all the time, and I knew it was Facebook generating it because it was happening to me. When somebody would send me a message telling me their life story, right? Like I would ever go up to somebody and say, tell me about yourself. Like I don't want to hear it, right? I mean, based on everything I do here, it becomes embarrassing for people. But Facebook was doing that. Facebook is, they're all these things are kind of hostile and aggressive, these social media apps. And they want to create more dialogue. So they would randomly send messages in your name that you didn't send, right? But then there's all the stuff that happens with email where they send stuff, email something, and you click on it. And if you go into your account, like this guy did, you go that far and they're asking you for information, and then you realize, oh, this is a scam. Whatever you've given them so far, you should assume is going to come back to bite you, right? Then you have to take action immediately and call and look at these things and look for suspicious activity. Anytime you click on a phishing scam, you should always look and see, anything unusual happens. You should be on like red alert of anything. Like if you get called or anything, it's always best to call back and deal with them directly. So you're calling your banker. If they're calling you, you don't know who it is. If you're calling them, unless they've somehow hacked their phone system, you're talking to people at your bank, for example, right? And there's ways that you can, there's videos about how to deal with these things, right? I could see why he fell for this, but, once he had that one red flag, he should have been aware of something else coming back to him because he'd already given out some of his information about his bank.
They then did something so nuts. And I'm on the phone with them for a long time.
Yeah.
And I had told the woman, wow, I got this email yesterday. I realized it was fraud when they asked for my Apple ID. The woman said, we would never ask for your Apple
Oh, my God. She's the scammer.
Right. You're my friend. You're my friend. Thanks for protecting me. They then say, we want you to get your keypad up on your phone, put these numbers in. I do it, and I don't understand what's happening. For 1 second, something flashes on my phone. I happen to take a screenshot of it because I was like, this is weird. I said, it says caller forwarding activated or something. She goes, just dismiss that. That's what came up on my phone. That's the screenshot. It activated call forwarding.
Succeeded.
What that did was, I was on the phone for an hour with this woman. Oh my God. I got off. And what happened is when the bank called me to ask me if I was doing these wires, because they call you to say they were sizable wire transfers, the calls had been forwarded to the hacker.
Scammer. This is so elaborate.
It is, but I consider myself a smart, functioning member of society.
Yeah,
right?
you're not falling for the easiest scam, but they were so
How did you learn that they were taking money out of your account?
It seemed odd, and I called my bank fraud after that because they had said to me, we're going to call you back in a half an hour. They never called me back. And so I was like, this is weird. And I kept leaving things for the bank to call me back. They weren't calling me back. The calls were being forwarded to these people. My phone was silent all night. I said, you know what? I'm just going to go into my bank the next day. I went into the bank. We're going through it. They said, oh, these wires were initiated. When
did your heart sink?
Yes. When money is wired out of your account, it's gone. The people have closed the account. This is an active case with the NYPD cyber security unit, but it's very easy to fall prey to.
Can I just say, I know you don't want to give a dollar figure.
Yes.
But it was
enough
significant.
that I'm on the Today Show talking about it.
Right.
It's nothing.
Kaboom. There's just something that everybody should be aware of. Like, you just shouldn't click on anything, right? Like, if anything comes to you from any kind of, like something that comes from your bank or something, you call your bank. And, or whatever, go there in person. But, all the stuff that happens online, these online scams, they happen sometimes from foreign countries and they're interstate. Like somebody could be scamming you from California and you're in Kentucky or something, right? And so there's just no way to catch them. I mean, the internet crime is almost like 100% guaranteed successful. There's no, they don't have enough people and enough ability to prosecute this kind of stuff, right? That's why it's so rampant. And, these things. But, it's Andy Cohen. Governor Jared Polis faces backlash from cringy Feliz Navidad rendition as migrant crisis surges. So this guy did this. It's kind of hilarious.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
That's great. Chris Cuomo called humiliated CNN staffer tinsel crotch, and she claims network axed her after confronting him.
Day when I posted a picture of myself looking forward to the new year in a gold sequin bikini on Instagram. Cuomo screenshot the image and said, "Happy New Year, tinsel crotch."
It's very painful for her, but, it's nothing worse than being called tinsel crotch.
Stunned, I read and reread the message a dozen times, trying to understand. If I somehow brought this on myself, since whatever you post on social is fair game, right? I teared up, like now, then the tears flowed. I felt like the safest place I had on a show on CNN had been compromised.
Well, it just wasn't safe after the tinsel crotch comment. He's just so weird. Like, that's such a weird thing to say, right? He's just, he's very cringe. So I should add this. This is the picture here. I didn't scroll down. I X'd out of this, and then I wanted to show my wife because I thought she would find, Cuomo's weird comment, right? Funny. But this is what he's referring to as tinsel crotch, right? And so it kind of makes it a lot worse when you see the photo. Cuomo's just such a weird guy. Like, why would he say that? Like, what? I mean, there's got to be some filter within your mind, and he doesn't have it. And we see it on his show. He says cringy things all the time, and he does cringy things. He has the inability to self-perceive. But writing to this woman who, I don't know how close he was to her, how well he knew her, and calling her tinsel crotch, I mean, it's, inappropriate. And she ended up getting fired for it when she confronted him. What I'm saying here is sometimes you say something and you're like, well, I maybe shouldn't have said that. I mean, most people have that in their life. Somebody like me who blurts things out and, is insensitive. And, especially when I was younger. And then you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And if you call someone tinsel crotch, that's automatically got to happen. Unless the person's name is Tinsel Crotch, then if you say that to somebody, especially now the climate that's around, I mean, that was in the height of the Me Too era. His brother got fired for doing stuff like this, and CNN's a place of, I was supposed to be woke and liberal and feminist place, and this is it seems like just an acquaintance, a coworker, that when she came and confronted him, he should have, before she even said a word, going, I bet this is about tinsel crotch. Like, he should have known. Like, he shouldn't have caught him off guard. Like, when she came up, can I talk to you? Those words should have made him think in his mind, I wonder if this is about tinsel crotch comment. And it was. Instead, he got her fired. So this is the thing here. Michael Strahan and his daughter, Isabella, 19, reveal her brain cancer diagnosis and emotional GMA interview. Again, this turbo cancer stuff that's going on. Like she's a 19-year-old girl with brain cancer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This morning, our dear friend Michael, side by side with his daughter Isabella.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. As they reveal what they've been facing over the last few months. Papa Bear, Papa Bear. Oh, how proud are you of your daughter for wanting to take control and to be the one to share her story?
I mean, I'm very proud of her.
He works for ABC Disney. This is Good Morning America. And we know ABC Disney is, it was mandatory there. So, and he also works for Fox. And so, right?
And she's always been strong. And this is something that is so personal that I...
So, the turbo cancer stuff, like it's... Extremist Jewish teens secretly hired migrants to dig covert Brooklyn synagogue tunnel, Shawshank style. And so, I really didn't get into covering this thing, and YouTube's changing its policies, which I talk about on my other channel. So that's going to be a whole thing. You're going to watch what's going to happen. You have a whole thing in February. I posted on my last video on my other channel that's up today on January 13th on my other channel. So I want to say here, someone left a comment saying I always talk about my other channel. Pockets of the Future is the channel's name, but that's the original channel. Some people think that this channel is Pockets of the Future because they stopped for a while, they weren't. When you search Pockets of the Future, you couldn't find my channel. That's how bad it got in terms of their shadow banning and all these things. But anyways, all my channels are listed in the description box to every one of my videos. So if I mention something that has to do with anything that I do, you can find it in the description box of my videos. My other channels and all these other things I might mention, they're all there. Merch, any of these things, right? It's all there in the description box to these videos. There are links to these things, and if you hear somebody in YouTube mention something, it's more than likely linked in the description box of their YouTube video. But they sent things out to advertisers talking about sensitive events and blaming victims for things, and they're going to start censoring people. Again, with you'll see it happening in at the end of January, February. Kate Beckinsale posts cryptic photo after rushing to hospital in Golden Globes dress. There's the photo there. Kate Beckinsale shared a cryptic black square on Instagram not long after she revealed she rushed to the hospital for the 2024 Golden Globes. She posted a photo herself, still dressed in her award showgown, eating while surrounding a patient's bed. Although it's unconfirmed, the patient appears to be her stepfather, Roy Battersby, whom she said was in poor health. They got Battersby. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they got Battersby. Kelsey is too famous and busy with Taylor Swift to text me back, ex-Chiefs player Tyreek Hill says. They were former teammates, and apparently Kelsey isn't returning his text now because, he's a Swiftie now. Khloe Kardashian, the big one, barely covers up with an apple in Adam and Eve themed cover shoot. She's got an apple there. Oh, there's the apple. I'm sorry. She's the apple of our eye. She's known as the big one around here. There's this with the snake and the apple. And that's weird in itself, right? Like, what's up with that, right? The whole, that dude. Okay, there are a couple more things here. Former Wizards guard Ryan Rollins charged with shoplifting from Target multiple times while with team. It raised eyebrows on Monday when Wizards waived Ryan Rollins, a 21-year-old guard who had shown promise defensively and a potential, the kind of player the Wizards should be trying to develop. The Wizards suck, so this makes puts it in context. He seemed an odd player just to let go, but now we know why. Rollins has been charged with 7 counts of petty larceny in Alexandria General District Court. He was caught shoplifting household items from the local Target store on multiple occasions while still with the team. He has yet to enter a plea and is due back in court February 7th. Like just the epitome of stupidity there. And speaking of which, one of my viewers let me know that Pat McAfee, this is this dope here, right, has written this on his YouTube channel. A lot of you are talking wild about me and our program. This is a joke he uses when he does a disclaimer in the beginning of his show. I assume you are very new to us. Let me switch over to a voiceover here. I'm going to read most of the rest of this. It's just better because I don't have to edit it later. I'm doing this. I'm in the editing process of the video, but I want to put this thing to rest. We are a sports show that tries to inform folks of what's going on and have a good time with good vibes every day. We do not bat 1,000, but we feel as we do make solid contact a lot, our people found us because of that. We're wildly lucky for folks that enjoy taking mental vacations with us Monday through Friday, 48 weeks a year. We take a lot of pride in making folks' lives a little better, happier, or better. A little bit happier or better. Not a little bit. A little bit happier or better. The past year with our shows going to college towns on Friday, I got to chat with a lot of folks that watch our show. I love learning about them, and I normally learn about how they started watching the show. There was always a buddy referral story. Then there was other stories about folks through some boop we were there to hang out with them as they battled through whatever they were going through. I haven't polled our crowd, but I'm rather certain that nobody's wanting to come out, hang out with us to talk about politics. I think it's probably a massive reason for our success, actually. So all of this has been a good reminder of what we're good for and who we're good for. Someday I'll try to build enough of a brain to dive into politics world, but that time is nowhere near now. The Aaron Rodgers aspect of this thing, and this is where he's going to get into that, is a big driver of his success, because Aaron Rodgers was exclusively talking to Pat McAfee when they attacked him and about his saying that he was whatever it was that he said, the exact word that he used when asked if he had gotten the bloop, and he didn't want to say he didn't get it because he knew it would be a thing. And to his credit, because they claimed he was being deceptive, he was being a liar, but he didn't want to get it, and that was his right, and it was nobody else's business. And, he didn't want to tell people. And again, and I can understand that from that perspective, and we all know how they were hunting all of us, anti-vaccine people, right? I mean, this was, they were hunting us, like they were going after people, either through, social media platform. I was talking about this with my wife, that you could post things about, because it's going to happen again now, I think, with Israel coming up in the next January, February, because I just got a notice that YouTube is sending to all its advertisers. I'm advertising on YouTube to ill effect. I mean, it's like, like basically a waste of money compared to the return I'm getting. I've gotten it's like probably I'm paying $2 to get one subscriber. And so, that's whatever that is. But it's stuff that YouTube used to do for all of us for free, which was promote our content because they wanted people to view more content on YouTube. But now they try to, if you want to watch one thing and you're searching for one thing, Google and YouTube say, no, you don't want what you think you want. You want what we tell you want, right? Like that's what has gotten on the internet, with all this stuff. But Aaron Rodgers didn't want to say anything about this, right? And when it came out, they all called him a liar, and they went after him for a long time. And he responded and went after some of these people on Pat McAfee's show, and that drove viewership, right? Like I, watched some of this stuff and was aware of Pat McAfee's show because of Aaron Rodgers. And that's, a lot of us, it's because of that. And so he's not, and he didn't, it wasn't a problem for Pat McAfee when Aaron Rodgers was driving people to his show through this. He wasn't shutting Aaron Rodgers up about this stuff. They encouraged it. Him and his team encouraged Aaron Rodgers to talk about it. Our fans know that Aaron Rodgers Tuesday ends shortly after Aaron's team's season ends. That's how it's been. He'll make random surprise welcome pop-ins during big events or off-season adventures, but it's always been a season thing. I never said he'll never be on the show again. I hope he chooses to still chat with us. We've been lucky the last 4 years to ride the wave of a season with a 4-time NFL MVP, 2 of which during the art era, the Aaron Rodgers Tuesday era, and get his thoughts along the way in real time. I certainly don't love that I found myself in a political wars and political beast because of something that a guest has said on our show or something that my dumbass has said, including a lawsuit that was very public. But I think I've come to realize is that it's going to come with the territory of this venture. We are more aware of that now, and for the good of our lives, happiness, and mana, we're trying to avoid as many as possible. So that was to do with Brett Favre, the lawsuit that he's referring to. Now, Brett Favre basically stole money. I mean, this was money that was meant for people like for food stamps and impoverished people, and they used it to build a gym for his high school daughter's volley. I mean, there's a whole thing there. Like, I don't know the specifics, but it's usually fraudulent, and it looks pretty bad for Brett Favre, who doesn't seem to be like a great guy. But Brett Favre went after different people, and Pat McAfee caved. And the rest of them didn't, because, Brett Favre did some bad things. Like, I don't know if they, and because of these things, they're changing the way that they're covering sports because it's also often rumor-based, the way things have gone on. That's why you see things being handled differently now, where if there's a story about somebody, like this guy Ryan Rollins, they cover it differently, right? But Pat McAfee caved, and, this was, whatever. As I say all this, I have a lot of pride in what the boys, our fans, and I have built. We found what we're good for. There's a lot of different points of our journey that could have ended or stopped or slowed because the entire team, we keep rolling. I love them. I'm thankful for them. And we'll just talk boop about sports. See you tomorrow. Cheers. The thing is that, his position was he made it sound like everybody was against what Aaron Rodgers was saying and they were on Jimmy Kimmel's side. And the problem was Jimmy Kimmel, who's been a complete piece of boop. I don't know if the microphone's having issues. I just saw the lights flash, and I'm redoing a part of it. If there's some interference, whatever. But Jimmy Kimmel has gone after people savagely and slandered them and said bad things. And as a comedian and doing other guys, if it's all a joke, and he's, done things that should have got him canceled. I'm not a canceling person, but, he's done things that other people got canceled for and didn't end up taking accountability for them, right? Never apologized any of these things. And he's gone after people, and he humiliates kids and all these things he does, all the things I've showed you in the last couple of videos. And after all that, Aaron Rodgers alludes to something in the form of a joke, and Jimmy Kimmel threats litigation. But more than that, he turned the ESPN Disney family against Aaron Rodgers, and Pat McAfee is a part of that family. And the producers and people on the show were putting pressure on him for something that, was a mild joke. And, Jimmy Kimmel went after Aaron Rodgers first. And Aaron Rodgers came back at him, and he, whined like a little boop. And that's the problem. Like he's just a piece of boop. And Pat McAfee didn't, take Aaron Rodgers' side in this. And they just caved. And the way that he talked about Aaron Rodgers' Tuesday ending, he didn't do it in a way that he made it sound like, as he's doing here, that Aaron Rodgers talking about these things was unwelcome by him when him and his crew always wanted Aaron Rodgers to do that because they knew it. Everyone knows drama drives these things, drives viewership and interest. And Aaron Rodgers had a lot of that, and Pat McAfee had the exclusive coverage of Aaron Rodgers doing this. So much so that Pat McAfee, after his show became successful, went back and paid Aaron Rodgers, who didn't want any money. He paid him anyway, right? Aaron Rodgers could do his own social media and could just talk and have someone interview him and do it on his own. But Pat McAfee was benefiting from this, right? And so, he turned into a little worm here. I mean, this was like worm-like behavior. And this isn't about politics, right? Whatever the Jeffrey Epstein thing is, we know, and they're all whatever the stuff that surrounds it and all the mystery and the suicide and all these things. And Jimmy Kimmel denied there was a list, and Aaron Rodgers said, what he's saying, he meant what he said it, was that Jimmy Kimmel was going to be upset the list came out because Aaron Rodgers was going to be right again, and Jimmy Kimmel was going to be wrong again, which is a big thing for all of us truthers, which we know. And Aaron Rodgers made that pretty clear in his follow-up statement. And then, all these people, Jimmy Kimmel hasn't said anything since then, but he's a little boop, right? He just, he whined for something that he does in a much more derogatory and savage way, and he's just a piece of boop. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this one up here. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely important for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.